you can certainly text for my next guest. A very, very big topic. Nearly 143 million United States consumers, a couple million, as Al mentioned, from Minnesota, were affected by one of the biggest breaches of consumer private financial data in history. In fact, Equifax now has 23 class action lawsuits against it. The Massachusetts Attorney General is suing the company for violating state consumer protection laws, and the list goes on. To get into all of it and what it means now and next for you, Greg Scott is here. He is an IT guy and author of Bullseye Breach. Hi there.
Hi there. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you in studio. Give us kind of the latest headline, because you've really said that this is something that shouldn't have happened. But tell us first why this matters now. What should we be looking for now?
Right now, consumers should look for phishing campaigns. I expect we're going to see lots of emails claiming to come from Equifax. Click here to make everything all better. Well, don't click here. That's just classic phishing. Don't fall for it.
So this breach could lead to other mishaps and other kinds of data.
Oh, it probably
theft.
will. Yeah, 143 million of us, our Social Security numbers are now all up for sale on underground websites and wherever. Although that's not anything new. That's been going on for a long time. We just found out about it this last time when Equifax got hammered. So maybe when I put on my Pollyanna hat, maybe this will be the breach that gets us all out of our slumber and we finally do something about this stuff. I sure hope so.
All right, the headlines have been all over. I pulled some stuff from USA Today this weekend, the Wall Street Journal this weekend, and pretty much effective immediately. On Friday, Equifax announced the retirement, quote unquote, I would say, of its chief information officer and chief security officer. Yeah, I think that's the least you can do. But what many security experts are saying is that suspicious activity was happening. A patch for something even was out there as early as March, and Equifax ignored.
Here's the sequence of events. Apache Struts is the component in question, and there were a couple vulnerabilities with Apache Struts that were found out about. One was patched in March, and the other was patched on September 4th. So I let this stew for a week, and I said, let's give these guys the benefit of the doubt. First, they said there's a problem with the website component, but they didn't tell us which one. And then a report came out from this Baird Equity Research that said there's a problem with Apache Struts, but they didn't tell us which problem. So maybe the problem happened on September 4th and Equifax notified on September 7th. Okay, I can live with that. But come to find out that's not true. After lots and lots and lots of pressure, Equifax announced on their website that the CVE, the vulnerability they found, was the one from March. The one that was found and fixed in March. Those guys sat on it and didn't do anything until May. And then they let bad guys run around their network from May till end of July. After they found out about it, they sat on it for 5 weeks before they told the world about it.
Greg, why would a company do that?
I have my theories. All I can do is speculate. But I'll speculate on the air. When you read between the lines about what these guys did, you can just imagine a group of people all wearing really nice three-piece suits sitting inside of a conference room trying to come up with the best way to publicly disclose this and trying to get all their I's dotted and T's crossed and everything set before they told the world. So they messed around for 5 years. They brought in Mandiant, a forensics firm, and they put together a domain name and a so-so website where people could supposedly go and make everything better. It took them 5 weeks to set all that up, and then they did it wrong, and then they finally announced it. So my best guess, attributing positive motives to all these guys, my best guess is they took 5 weeks to set up what they wanted to set up before they told the world. About the worst response you can do.
I'm talking with Greg Scott. He is author of Bullseye Breach, Anatomy of an Electronic Break-In. We are talking about this latest major breach, which has taken credit card data of 209,000 people.
Social security numbers.
Really affected 143 million consumers in one way or another. If you have any questions for him, give us a call, 651-989-9226. Or text us, 81807. Greg, other security experts have also said this scenario was totally expected. And I hear that often. You know, I've done a lot of data security and identity theft segments on my show, and everyone says that. If it's not a matter of if, but when, for different kinds of businesses, small businesses to large.
Yes, that's correct. The whole model is flawed. Social Security numbers were never meant to be used for credit reporting and loans and financial, that kind of stuff. Social Security numbers were meant for Social Security, for the government. And the financial industry glommed onto that number as an easy-to-use identifier for all of us, and everything mushroomed from there. You think about it, tell everybody, here's your Social Security number, but don't tell anybody. But then we have to tell anytime we buy a car, anytime we do a mortgage, anytime we do a job application, anytime we do pretty much anything, we have to tell somebody, and all those somebodies report that data to these powerful credit reporting companies. It was just a matter of time before this would happen.
Here's a question coming in from a listener. I am 63 years old and don't need credit. I was identified as possibly being a victim. Should I freeze my credit?
Yes. 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 Here's the problem. You have to freeze your – this just makes me mad. You have to freeze your credit with Equifax, which means you have to trust Equifax to actually carry out your instructions. Freeze it with Equifax, with TransUnion, with Experian, and with Synovus, and with Innovis, and all the others. So you have to go through this multiple times with multiple players, and you have to trust these guys that already messed up, that they're not going to mess up freezing your credit.
All right, two questions that I'm going to combine because they kind of go together. One person saying, what should the average person do? Another asking, how do we check if we are part of the breach and check on a legitimate website?
Assume that you are part of the breach. Don't even bother to check. You are part of the breach. You go to that Equifax Security 2017 website, and it just gives you a whole bunch of mush mouth stuff. You are part of the breach. Go to these guys. That's the best steps we can take.
All right, Greg Scott, in getting ready for our segment, you shared with me that it is scary that these major credit entities, these reporting agencies, are so powerful and have so much power over the American people. Give us a thought on that, because that made me really think about it over the weekend when you said that to me on Friday. And it is scary.
Yes. We the consumers, we're not the customers. That's why we have no power. We're not the customers. People who do loans and people who sell stuff, those are the paying customers. Granted, if I can fill out a web form and I can sign up for identity protection from Equifax or one of these places, identity theft protection from one of these places. But when you think about it, here's the way the system works. Every time I get credit from somebody, that somebody reports it to these agencies. The time between I get credit and the reporting is N number of days. During those N number of days, if somebody impersonates me and gets credit in my name, they report it to those agencies. I've signed up for identity theft protection from these guys. Best case, it's a few days before I ever find out about it. By then, it's too late. Somebody's already charged up $1 bazillion on the fake credit card and gone off to South America someplace.
A couple quick tips that I can share that I've learned from interviewing different people and also my own bank entities. One is, if you are going out of town, notify your bank. Hey, like I did a couple weeks ago, I'm going to be in New York these days to these days. Please know that charges on the card are me. If you see any charges in Texas, and I've told you I'm in New York, they're not going to allow those, right? That's one.
Yep,
and then
idea.
I've also talked with former FBI agents who say when you go to the doctor's or dentist's office, they do not need your Social Security number. So that is a number you do not have to put on their forms.
Well, yeah, the FBI law enforcement will tell you one thing.
That's what I go with. So I've told all of my loved ones, don't do that. All right. So one person asking our final question before we have to say goodbye. Don't mean to sound dumb, but how do you freeze my credit?
Oh, most of the websites have web forms that you can fill out. Unfortunately, some of the web forms don't work. The FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, has a link to do that. And I'll put a link on my website. Give
people your website.
Yeah, D as in Daniel, dgregscott.com. Another good place to look is KrebsOnSecurity.com, KREBS on security.com. And Brian Krebs has a whole bunch of FAQs, frequently asked questions about that.
Yeah, and I've talked to him on the show too. All right. Thank you so much, Greg Scott. He is author of Bullseye Breach: Anatomy of an Electronic Break-In. You can go to his website and find that too. Thank you so much. We'll have you back. Lots of great information.
Thanks for having me.
We are going to take a break. When we